Welcome to day 3 of Chanmas. This has been really fun and I'm really excited to dive into today's topic because we're going to shift gears just a little bit. So the last 2 days we went heavy into some content strategy, some content ideas. Today we're shifting just slightly and we're going to move into like brand strategy, business strategy, if you will, if you are using social media as your means of marketing to get people into your world. So that's what we're going to dive into today. And this one ritual that I'm going to teach you would be out 10 launches. If you were doing launching and that's part of your strategy, this one ritual is going to beat out 10 successful launches. And most people overlook this. They don't even think about these things. This is going to be the simplest hack for you to incorporate into your business. And I'm really excited for you to take this and run with it. So before we dive in, let me just remind you that the 12 Days of Chanmas is also a challenge for you. So the challenge is really simple. If you like what you're listening to, if this feels valuable for you, and you take one of these replays and you share them to your story and you tag me, you will get a free seat into what the upcoming masterclass, what I'm calling 2025 Exposed. And 2025 Exposed, I'm going to break down all of the strategies that I did this year to create a 6-figure business. And what didn't work, what did work, you're going to get a free seat to that training if you share this to your stories and you tag me. If you want to enter a giveaway, after the 5th replay of the 12 Days of Chanmas, if you share 5, even after the 5th, but if you share 5 replays to your stories and tag me in each one, you will enter a giveaway to get my signature content audit where I go into your content on your Instagram or whatever platform you choose actually. And I will audit your last several posts in depth. I will tell you what's working, what isn't working. I will tell you where to add more clarity, where you can convert a little bit easier. So you'll enter a drawing to win that giveaway. All right, let's get into it. So the one ritual that if you were to add into your business would be out 10 successful launches. And I am speaking from experience because I actually just created a post on this the other day. But in 2025, I launched something new every single month. And I learned so much by doing that. It was something that I really wanted to trial and error. And it strengthened a lot of who I am as a leader. It strengthened my brand and my business. And I can break all of that down during the 2025 Exposed. But one thing that came to light for me, not just through that experience, but also I help my sister every year. She hosts like a big conference for her business and hundreds of women come to this conference and I get to take a glimpse of what happens behind the scenes. And one thing that I noticed when I took a step back is I'm like, okay, this is going to now be next year, I think will be her 7th annual conference. And one thing that I realized that most people miss is like the power of repeating that conference. The power of every single summer having something for people to come to and having something for them to have their minds blown and like this experience that is unforgettable, that is really powerful. So this is not me telling you you should host a conference. Like I've never hosted my own conference. I'm going to show you how to do this without making it such a large scale. Unless that's something you want to do, I cheer for you. That's amazing. So other people that do this that I literally just thought of 10 seconds before I went live and I'm like, oh, I want to mention this because this is very common in a very successful entrepreneur or leader. Gabby Bernstein is, she's an author. She has a podcast and every single new year. So in January, and I'm pretty sure I've seen the ads for it now, of course, she runs a New Year challenge. And I don't know how many years she's been doing this, but I think it's like as cheap as $27 to be in this 30-day challenge. And it sets up her entire year of business, truly. So she goes all in on this New Year challenge that she promotes. She, like I just said, she runs ads. She does the most. And people join this challenge and she's known for it. So every single New Year, she does that. Now, another person who does this is Tony Robbins. He built his entire business on in-person events. So he created these transformational in-person events and he would host them a couple times a year and he still does. Now he has branches off of them. He has multiple different types, but he became known for the repeat brand tradition of having these in-person events. My very first business mentor that I ever hired, she also did this in her business, and she would do, I think it was 2 times a year, she would just have like this massive launch for a group program. So she was doing this virtually, and she would like pay for a studio to do her free workshop, which was her launch vehicle. Like she went all in on this launch, and she only did it twice a year, and she was a multi-million-dollar business owner. So again, the biggest brand tradition, and that's what I'm calling this concept, is brand traditions, and they're repeat events is what they are. The biggest brand tradition that we are all familiar with, of course, is Black Friday. Like every single year, Black Friday is, everybody knows what it is. Everybody knows what's going to happen on Black Friday. Everybody's prepared for it. That is not so much a brand tradition, but it's a repeat event that is converting people left and right, high and low, like everywhere. So, okay, we're going to talk about how the power of doing these brand traditions is not just in the event itself. Yes, the event itself needs to be powerful. It needs to be an experience. But the power of a brand tradition in an offer that you're creating, the power lies in the repetition. So when something happens maybe every year or every quarter even, or just like on a predictable cadence, it stops feeling like a launch. It stops feeling like you have such a heavy lift to get it up off the ground and get people in. And instead it starts to feel like this is expected. Like this is a brand expectation. People are going to start hearing about it, and your first one might be smaller than you want it to be. But imagine time over time when you keep repeating this event, you keep repeating this tradition, people are going to hear about it. They're going to want in on it. So that's the power of doing this ritual in your business that is literally it's going to allow you to stop having to launch all the time. So people, when they're looking to you as a leader and they want to join your world and they want to purchase something from you, or they want to be mentored by you, the ideal client is not always going to be excited about urgency. So be cautious using urgency all the time. And when I say urgency, I mean you have 48 hours left to join, or there's 3 spots here. Like there's all different sorts of urgency tactics. And I'm not saying to not use them. I use them, but that's not my major lever that I'm pulling on. That is a lever that works when you have the brand trust. So you want to really give a lot more attention to the brand trust. And then when you pull on these levers of urgency or scarcity, whatever it is, they're going to work better because you've built the trust. So when you have this brand tradition, you're increasing the trust by promoting familiarity in whatever it is that you're doing. You're also able to build anticipation in a way that's different from just like, oh, I have this new program, I would love for you to join. Here's what we're going to do. When you have these repeat events, the anticipation is going to be insane. So we talked yesterday about, this was during the Signature Series strategy. If you missed that training, go back and watch day 2. But we talked yesterday about the importance of being known for something. And that is brand. Branding is like your reputation. You are known for something. And most importantly, if you're in the same world that I'm in, where we mentor people, we coach people, we provide and we facilitate transformation for people, we're building communities. If you're in that world, most importantly, you want to be known for a specific solution. So the brand tradition that you're creating here is going to be centered around that solution that you provide. And all of this is going to lend itself to the goal of becoming known for something. So for example, my sister's conference, every single year she runs a conference, and this works. Like she undoubtedly sells hundreds of tickets, and it's an exclusive event. Like you have to be in Turnip Land in order to go. So it's like, it's even more exclusive. It's not open to everyone. But because of that, it creates this experience, and people expect it to come every year. Like they end the conference this year, and then next year they look forward to the next year already. So it's like people are talking about this year over year. They have memories attached to it. They bring friends with them the next time. Like all of these things, this is branding. This is like using a strategy for you to stop having to spin your gears all the time and do the most. This is going to make it so simple for you. So you don't need to have this like massive in-person conference, okay? You could have like a virtual program that you run every September. You could have a small, intimate gathering that you do locally. You could do like anything low lift or even something free, for example. You could do something free. So what matters the most when you're thinking about your brand tradition is that it's recognizable, number one, and that it's anticipated. And we're going to talk about how to create that anticipation in just a minute. So one thing that came to my mind for a lot of the women that I coach is it can feel really hard, like building your audience online. It can feel like you're literally trying to move mountains, and it doesn't have to be that hard. So for example, something that I think would be really brilliant is you could host like a local dinner for people that would be your ideal client. You could find people locally. And right now on TikTok, if you were to go onto TikTok and say, everyone who is in the Metro Detroit area, wherever you live, the Metro Detroit area, and you're looking to take your Instagram from 1,000 followers to 10,000 followers within the next 30 days, I'm going to host a dinner where we're going to come together and I'm going to train you on how to do that. And it's going to be called Divas Dining. I don't know. Like, again, making that up. And so you're hosting this dinner around social media, Instagram follower growth. It's very specific, and you're putting this on TikTok because TikTok does a really good job with its algorithm of connecting that video to people in that location. So you could put that on TikTok and you could say, DM me for the link. I'm going to send you the link so that you can come to the dinner. There's X amount of spots available, blah, 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 blah. So maybe every quarter you do this dinner. Okay. Now you're probably thinking, okay, but if I can only have 10 people come to this dinner, how does that help my brand? And this is where I need you to like put on the hat of big vision here, because when you have this big lens vision, you would recognize that hosting this dinner, and if you do it repeatedly, it's going to allow you to create content from this dinner. So imagine you set up your phone and you like record the dinner, or you like get little moments from the dinner that is really special. You can use that content in your social media marketing. And here's what that's going to do. Of course, it's going to increase the anticipation and the desire to come to this dinner for the people who are local to you. But also for the people who are not local to you, they can't help themselves. They will start to recognize you as a perceived authority. Like, you immediately become more of a leader because they recognize like, oh, she's hosting dinners and like all these women are coming and like, what a cool thing. And so you automatically become more of an authority versus trying to tell people all the time, like, I'm an authority, I'm really good at this, I know so much about this. Like you're doing the least. Like, you're literally just showing the visual of, I'm hosting this dinner, I'm changing lives, I'm creating community, and people see that, they feel that, and they apply that to all your other offers. And that's how this works. So let's talk about some traditions that you could use. Now, first and foremost, I have a couple of examples that I want to walk you through that you can consider, but this is very intentional because we're getting ready to start a new year. So I wanted to place the brand tradition idea seed in your mind because you're hopefully planning your entire next year of what your business is going to look like and how you're going to operate. If you're not doing that, we need to talk. But however, the first example that I want to give you is if you don't have any launch plans for January yet, like if you, and again, take in your capacity, take in your bandwidth of what the other programs are that you're running, maybe in the background, but if you don't have a January event yet, like if you don't have a launch coming or a challenge or whatever that looks like, this is the perfect time for you to do this. January is like everyone is ready to make change. So capitalize on that. And in January, if you don't have anything else ready to launch, you could come up with a challenge that is very particular to your niche. Now, maybe your niche is like you're a vegan transition coach. So you help women transition from eating normal to vegan. And you have so many stances on this. You have so many opinions. You have proof. You have scientific claims, like whatever that is. And then in January, you set up this challenge where you help people transition into becoming a vegan. And it's like a 15-day thing. And maybe you do it for free, maybe you do it for $15, whatever. You get to decide what that looks like. I'm just giving you an example of something that you can host in the new year because the new year is a really good time to capitalize on people wanting to make change. You'll call in a lot of people at that time. Now, the first example outside of the new year is whenever your birthday is. So my birthday's in September. Maybe your birthday, I don't know, it's in March or something. Every single year, you can have a birthday bash offer, a birthday bash themed repetitive brand tradition. And maybe every year for your birthday, you host like 3 powerful virtual workshops, and they're all branded under the birthday bash like event idea. And maybe for this event every year, you go and you have like a photo shoot with balloons, and it's like very birthday theme. And so you're kind of like building the idea around this. You're going all in. Remember, this is a big deal. You're going to do this once a year. And it's also your birthday, so like have fun with it. But you're going to create these 3 workshops around one core transformation. So it all kind of like seamlessly blends together. And you can price this very creatively. So this is, again, we're getting kind of in the weeds here, but if you were to have a birthday bash, maybe you price it according to your age. So next September, I will be turning 35. Holy shit. 35. I will be turning 35. So I could have like an offer that is $35. Maybe I have an offer that is $350. Maybe it's $3,500. Who knows? But I could brand it around that number. So you see how everything starts to kind of like feel cohesive. It starts to feel good. It kind of like represents this entire brand. The theme is going to stay familiar. So whether you switch your pricing, whether you are obviously like increasing your age, it doesn't matter. But the theme of the birthday bash is going to be familiar. But the content of what you're providing will evolve because you're getting better. You're getting better at a rapid rate. So people are going to start to think to themselves like, oh, her birthday's coming up, and that's always so good. Like I remember last year on her birthday, she taught me this, this, and this, and it was so fun. Like I feel like I really transformed during that time. That is a signature moment. That is a brand tradition. You are making a huge impact within that category of that theme. That's a big deal. I have one client who right now is kind of experimenting with, she's building a free community. So she kind of wants to have this community of hot leads, but she also wants to play around with her coaching and see where she can make a massive difference. So every single month, she's hosting a free 3-day quick challenge. And she has a different theme each month, but this is quick. So it's like her brand tradition is monthly. There's 3 days every single month. And that's a quick turnaround because that's going to impact her marketing front facing. Keep that in mind. So maybe you don't do it monthly, but maybe you do it every other month, or maybe you do it every quarter. But you see how this is starting to like become a thing. So again, she's not reinventing the concept every single month. She might be shifting the impact and the content, but she's mostly just refining her approach. And that's very important. Okay, another example is themed seasonal events. So maybe it's not your birthday in September, but maybe it's like, okay, my birthday was in March and now we're a couple quarters later and I want to create like this brand tradition in September, and I'm going to call it Sexy September or something like that. And maybe you're, or the opposite, like Mindful March, like whatever you want to do. But every single year you host Sexy September and people start to know about it and you start to promote it before it even happens. And you let people kind of sit with that idea, but you build anticipation. So if you were to do something in January, like coming up in 2026, imagine January of 2027, you'll be able to take all of the testimonials from 2026 coming up and use them in your marketing starting in December of 2026, leading into 2027. So you see how this works? Like you already have testimonials built in. It's a theme. You make it a big deal. And the first time you run it, it feels really fun because you're kind of just, you recognize you're just planting seeds. Like you're just like, you have this idea, and I don't know what that shift is, but it's like a little less daunting knowing like, okay, I'm going to do this every single year or every single quarter or twice a year, whatever you decide. And right now my goal is just to plant seeds and get my feet wet and to do the best that I can for the people who come in. That feels really fun. And then you'll start to just enjoy it versus putting all this pressure on one single launch. Like one single launch is going to make you feel a little bit nervous. It's going to make you feel like I have to get 100 people in here, and if I don't, I'm a failure. So this is so powerful going into the new year because brand traditions is going to force you to lean into delayed gratification. And I tell this to my close proximity clients all the time. Delayed gratification is a superpower. It's like everyone is so used to instant gratification because we have social media and we're like, okay, if I don't get a ton of likes on this one post, then people don't want to hear this topic from me. And that's like, we all have that limiting belief. We all have that experience at some point or another. But this forces the delayed gratification. It gives you long-term vision and sustainable business building. So now you have this built-in program for this particular time every single year. You don't have to try to recreate the wheel on everything that you're doing. So instead of like, where is my next client going to come from? It's more of like, where is my brand going next year? Where can I make this even bigger next year? And this changes how you market. This changes how you sell. This changes how you create content. This changes how you talk about your work. You're no longer like operating in this instant urgency of I have to create something new, or like I have to up my prices, or I have to figure out how to get people in my world. And instead you're building brand equity, which is massive. That is huge. So let's go through the framework of how you're going to do this, and we'll do this quickly. So creating a brand tradition. Step one is most important. Like, you probably think step one is I want to choose the excitement, like the branding, the time of the year. That is where I would say take a step back, a giant leap back. And the first step of this is actually choosing the transformation. So what do you want to be known for? Because if this becomes a brand tradition, it needs to be a cornerstone of your business. What do you want to be known for when it comes to the solution that you provide or the transformation that you help facilitate? So people are going to know you. People know me for helping with content, helping with messaging, helping with branding. So what do you want to be known for? Even though I do so much more than that outside of those things, that is what I'm known for. And I love that because I could talk about content all day. So maybe you are known for like enhancing body confidence in menopause. I actually have a client who does that. Maybe you are a person who helps with intimacy after 10 years of marriage. Maybe you talk about leadership in corporate America. Like, again, whatever the through point is, you get to pick the transformation, but that's step one. Step two is you will then create your repeatable rhythm. So do you want to do this annually? Is it going to be quarterly? Are you going to do it every other month? Now, again, I would hesitate from doing it monthly, but you always can. You can do that. You can play with it. And the one thing though is like, I would set a goal of at least committing to three to 6 months, because if you do it 2 times monthly and you're like, oh, that didn't work, then unfortunately you're going to start to create the repetition that you're all over the place. So make sure that you are a little bit calculated in how you're going to do this, and determined and disciplined. That's very important. So start small. This is actually where I started. When I launched my very first business course at the end of 2023, it was August 2023. I had no idea what I was doing. First of all, I didn't even know that I didn't really follow what everyone was doing because I didn't know this world existed. But I launched my very first course at the end of 2023. And then in 2024, I launched it again 4 more times. I think 4 more times. So every single quarter I launched it was called Online Course Creator. It was something that I became known for, was helping women create courses based on their genius. Like, again, I was talking about it, I was posting about it, and every single quarter I had a new class come in and the doors would close after I launched it. So it was like I was creating anticipation every quarter. Like, do you want to join this cohort? And that's how I built my business, you guys. That was the foundation of my business, as I started to understand with that repetition of the same program, I would refine the launch. The one thing that I did wrong that if I could go back and do over is I had a launch vehicle. And when I say launch vehicle, I'm talking like I would host a 3 free day workshop. And from that 3-day workshop, I would then upsell into the Online Course Creator program. And every single time I hosted that workshop, I changed the title and I changed the content. And for some reason, I had this limiting belief in my mind that like people are going to want something new. Like people are sick of that workshop. And I had this limiting belief, like everyone that came to the last workshop isn't going to come to the next one if it's the same. So I need to make something new every single time. And that is not true. So if I could go back, I would have the same workshop, the same title. I would, again, once a quarter, that's 4 times a year. That's not very often. So to build the anticipation around that could have been massive. And I still was very successful when it came to that program launch, but I think it could have been even more if I would have just been a little bit more repetitive. I think that's another thing, is like the ability to repeat the same message is also a superpower, the consistency of that, because a lot of people need to hear things multiple times before it actually serves them, number one. But number two, going back to like what you're known for, it's really important that you're able to repeat the same message multiple times, say it multiple different ways, refine it over and over again, that sort of thing. All right, the third step here. So the third step is name it something that people can remember, which leads me into what I just talked about. I was renaming my workshop every single time, and it was confusing to the audience. So if I had it the same name every single time, and I made sure that it was still fun for me, it was branded the way, like I use blacks, I use pinks, I use whites and grays and everything that I do. And I have a certain style of photography in my professional photo shoots. Now, if you're like, that feels like too much to me, you don't have to do all that. Just stick with the same color or something. It doesn't have to be that big of a deal. For the longest time, I've been using like casual photos that I take when I go on date night or something like that. But another thing with your title, you want it to be easy to understand. And titling courses, titling like masterclasses, titling anything is always like this giant mind F for my clients and sometimes myself. So instead of thinking something like, here's the 3-day workshop series, you want to do something like that people talk about. So I had this one 3-day workshop that was called like the iconic, what was it called? Like iconic business strategy 3-day workshop. And so it gave, like, again, that's my brand, like iconic. Those are words that I use. Like I'm very feminine. I'm very female empowerment. Like that's just who I am. So that fits me. And it was a little bit more fun for my ideal client to join something like that versus like, here's a 3-day workshop where I'm going to teach you business. Okay. So now an example of what we're doing here in the 12 Days of Chanmas. I'm going to use this as a brand tradition. This is my first year ever doing the 12 Days of Chanmas, but next year I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it even better. And I'm going to refine everything that I had from what I learned here. So I'm having a blast with the 12 Days of Chanmas. To be honest, if I pull back the curtain entirely, my whole goal for this tradition was to get back to giving a lot of value. I have this like running workbook that I add to, and it's called My Life's Work. And I have so many pages to this workbook because I know so much about content and social media and building a business. And so I continually add to that book. And I literally looked at that book and I thought to myself at the beginning or at the end of November, like, what am I doing with this book? No one even sees this except me. And yes, once women are in my world, I give them everything I've got. Like I don't hold anything back. I teach everything. And I have resources for days on masterclasses and things that I've created. But when it comes to social media, my whole goal was to get back to, we're calling this Devotion December. And this is a challenge that we're doing in my Takeover Mastermind where I was like, you guys, I want to get back to providing more value, like just for the sake of value, because I can guarantee you're going to watch this and you're going to take something from this that could change the game for you in 2026 or for the next 10 years. And that is the whole point of what I'm doing here anyway. So with the 12 Days of Chanmas, that was my goal, was to teach different things that I wanted to teach on that were fun for me. And so next year, when I do the 12 Days of Chanmas, I'm going to refine all of that. I'm going to look at the year of 2026. And I'm going to think to myself, what are some things that would be very beneficial to the clients that are in my world? And then I'm going to bring that to the 12 Days of Chanmas. And that is the repeat event for me. That's the repeat brand tradition. So that leads me to keeping the structure familiar. So this is 12 Days of Chanmas, and I'm going live for 12 days straight leading up into Christmas. And it's very simple for me. Like I also love this because I don't have to create content for my feed while I'm doing the 12 Days of Chanmas. Like this is the content for my feed. And so I'm keeping it very familiar. Next year, it'll be the same exact thing. And if the content changes, I'm still keeping the length. So 12 days, the format, Instagram lives, and the vibe, 12 Days of Chanmas with free trainings. I'm keeping all of that the same. So I don't have to like recreate the wheel. And it creates like, for me, it's like very fun. It's like easy on my nervous system. But for my audience, it creates this like safety and this trust that they're not thinking to themselves like, oh, I feel safe and oh, I trust her. But it is this subconscious effect when you do these brand traditions that you build that trust and likability. Okay. The last piece to this, step 5, is to refine versus reinvent. And I feel like I kind of already hashed on this, but every single time that you do this brand tradition, you will improve it. Like, you will absolutely improve it, but have discipline that you don't change it all so that it's unfamiliar. You will sharpen the message. Absolutely. You will deepen the value. Absolutely. That is how your authority will compound. That is how your authority will compound. And then at the end of this, on step 6, you will be promoting this as a tradition versus a pitch. There's a big difference here. So when I promote the 12 Days of Chanmas, I'm talking like it's that time of year again, 12 Days of Chanmas. Now, again, this is my first year doing this, but I will do that again next year. I'll be like, remember the 12 Days of Chanmas last year? And I will pull things out of the archives. Like, I already have so many DMs from you guys excited about what I've taught you so far. It's only day 3. And I take snapshots of those. I will be holding on to those and using them next year to get people excited about what I talk about here. And that type of language really matters. That is social proof that you just can't, it's priceless. Like, you can't, I would prefer that you do that before you ever look into paid ads. Like, this is going to skyrocket your brand recognition and your growth. It's huge. It's massive. So the whole purpose here is that you are giving, like, you're serving your people. Okay, so why people are going to join this versus you doing a launch all the time. And this is something that I did learn in 2025. But the reason that people are going to join your brand traditions, and even if they're, again, like you're launching the course every quarter or whatever that is, they're going to buy from you because they feel connected to you. I say this all the time. This is one of my mottos, but people buy you before they ever buy your offers. People will buy you before they ever buy your offers. There's 1,000 other people doing what you're doing. They're going to buy you first. So this brand tradition is also going to allow them to trust your leadership, to see that you are consistent. And again, that's one of those subconscious seeds that people don't recognize on the surface, but they see you being consistent. Like, I have a message in my DMs right now, and it's a woman saying, like, I need to be more consistent. Like, I really want to put myself out there more. And we're like having this conversation. And she's saying that to me because she recognizes that I have that characteristic. So this is very simple. You get to just be yourself. They'll also witness the refinement over time. So if I go back to like my sister's conference, for example, people want to be a part of the evolution of it. Like, there's a couple women in the room that have been to all 6 conferences. That's crazy. And they have witnessed the evolution over time, and they want to keep going because it keeps getting better and better and better. So when you do invite them into the paid work, because now, here's the thing. You're using these brand traditions to get them into whatever space it is that you want them into. So that's very important to note. Like, you're not just doing this for the sake of doing this. Yes, you're enjoying teaching. That's who we are. But you are using this to create recognition and understanding of what you're going to place them into next. So for example, I love what we're doing here, but even at the end of these 12 days, everything that we learn together is going to serve you. Like, you could take all of these 12 trainings and crush it in 2026. But if you want to do even more, there's still more work to do. That's when I'm going to invite you into my mastermind or my membership. So at the end of the day, these brand traditions are great. They're amazing, but make sure you're leading people somewhere where you can continue serving them at the end of the brand tradition. Even if that is like, so let's say you do have a conference or you're doing the dinner idea. At the end of the dinner, you sell tickets to the next dinner. Like, that's just how this goes. So instead of them asking, do I trust her? Like, am I just going to like take a risk on her and invest in her? Instead, they've now experienced your brand tradition, your repeat event, and they don't have to question if they trust you because they already do. That's the whole point. All right. I think that's a wrap on today's training. So if you want 2026 to feel different in your business, if you want to feel like I am like going somewhere and I'm like heading in the right direction and I feel organized in what I'm doing, this is one of the smartest places to start. Not with more content, like not with more feed posts and social media posts. Yes, that's going to serve you big time. Obviously, I'm a huge social media girl, but this is also going to allow you to stop creating so many offers and instead lead with brand traditions. And maybe you have like 2 or 3 if you're doing the offer thing. If you're in year 1 of business, I definitely recommend you launch the same group program every quarter. Like, do something like that where you have the brand tradition of whatever the workshop is. Okay, I could keep talking about this for days, but you don't need this to be perfect. You just need it to be repeatable and you need to have fun with it, and it needs to be something that you get excited about. So I'm going to pause there, remind you about the challenge. If you found this valuable, share it to your Instagram stories and tag me, and I will give you a free ticket to the upcoming 2025 Exposed Masterclass. We're going to go deep into some ish in that masterclass. You don't want to miss it. If you share 5 of these replays, then I will enter you into a giveaway for a signature content audit for me. It's usually Cherie. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Love you. I will gift you a signature content audit from me where I record myself literally auditing your content. So you'll enter that giveaway after the 5th day here. Whew. All right. Day 3 is done. I cannot wait for day 4, which is tomorrow. I will see you back here with my Santa hat, and I love you. Have the best Sunday ever. Bye.